Ladies and gentlemen, in life, as in business, we don't get what we deserve. We get what we negotiate for. Today, at Spark Summit, we're in a life hacking summit. To cut through the chase, I'm giving to you right away the hack. What you have in your hands right now, this is a distillation of years of experience, lots of readings, lots of meetings, lots of interviews. Your challenge would be, whenever you're facing a negotiation, to have a look at that for your preparation before you enter a negotiation. Talking about negotiation, all the negotiators in the room, please raise your hand. All the negotiators in the room, please raise your hand. All those who want to be excellent negotiators, please raise your hand. Thank you. In fact, all of us are negotiators. We've been negotiating since we were born. You cried, you negotiated for food. And all of us want to be great negotiators. The point of this session is that we are all negotiators, and we all, at some point, get stuck in our negotiation. And the reasons are multifold. First, emotions get in the way. Second, we can be greedy at times. Third, we stick to our positions. I want this and nothing else. Take it or leave it. Fourth, we think that our responsibility is to get what we are interested in, and it is the other party's responsibility to get his or her needs. My objective today is to think at other possible ways to get unstuck in these particular situations. Some creative ways. Negotiation is a big umbrella. This is not a negotiation training class, except that in some way it is. For today, this is what's going to happen. And for the benefit of our graphic artists at the back, 3 things I want you to remember. And each one starts with a P. Whenever you're entering a negotiation, and you will see that on your sheet of paper, ask yourself these questions. 1, what is the problem? P for problem. Number 2, who are the people? P for people. And number 3, how is the process? P for process. The way this session is going to go, because we have a very short amount of time, I'm going to give you as much as I can for this. I'll give you a short scenario of what the problem is, and then each one of you will think about a situation whereby you either have been in a big negotiation that is of high significance for you, or you are currently in one, or you're planning to be in a negotiation, either personal or professional. Personal, for example, you're moving out of the house. Personal, you're going to get married, or you're moving to a different country. Professional, you have to decide whether you're going with that business partner or not. This is how it's going to happen. Before I move on, would it be okay if I share a little bit about myself? Yes. Thank you. I am from a very small island in the Indian Ocean. Then I left for another small island to come to Singapore. From Singapore, then I traveled to Europe and then came back and then traveled again and then came back and traveled and came back last February. I spent several years in Europe. I've lived in 8 cities and I've gathered a lot of experiences. Why negotiation? I finished last year a massive study on strategic negotiations, especially for entrepreneurs. I've interviewed, I've talked, I've seen there are many things that, hey, wow, only if you had something like a map, would say all these things are in front of us. That would help us tremendously. Also, last year, I was very fortunate to be in the organizing team of the London Olympics and the London Paralympic Games. My job was to assist the heads of delegation every day, non-stop. And that's non-stop. I was negotiating different things. So these are the experiences that I'm bringing here as a distillation for you. Would you like that? Yes. Great. Without further ado, we are jumping in. Tighten your seatbelt. First, whenever you're in a negotiation, there's a problem that you're trying to tackle. Here we have Run Ing and Wei Chin. Both of them want the orange. We have two people, one orange. He wants the orange, she wants the orange. What could be some solutions? Share the orange, cut in half. So we have all this, steal the orange. The reason why I pick the orange example is because in negotiation, this is the classic example. It's a simple, beautiful example that explains a lot of principles. Cut the orange, there's already a knife there. What else? Steal the orange. Tell me more, a few more.
I'm thinking what he wants, asking what she wants. Maybe he just wants the orange juice and she wants to draw.
That's very good, that's one option. You ask what you want, what she wants. That's asking what the other person wants. What else?
One of them
Buy the orange. Okay, what else?
buy another orange. Buy one more orange. Grow the orange.
Grow the orange. As you can see, you're coming up with solutions. What happens, and that's part of what my team and we've noticed with our clients, is that they stop at the fairly obvious solution. The most obvious solution here that we've seen is to cut the orange in half. This is what people think about it. So that's the main problem. So here, where does the creativity come in? The creativity comes in when you want to expand the number of solutions possible on the table. Now, back to you. I want everyone for the next minute to individually think of a situation when you've been in a negotiation or you're currently in a negotiation, and on top, as you would see on your sheet of paper, on page 1, you'd see problems. I don't want you to write full sentences. There's a reason why I didn't give you much space over here. Just in words, mention what your problem is, and also jump into what you think the motivation of the other party is. We will not have the time to go through the full paper. This would be for us to explore another time. Spend a minute for a few words, what the problem is that you're tackling, and what you think the motivation of the other person is, and go. And time's up. Thank you very much for this. For the next minute, I would like you to share that situation, that negotiation with your partner, and then try to explore the motivations behind, and go. Share your problem with your partner, and then try to get as much input as possible from the other partner, and go. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. For our session, we're not waiting till the end to start our life hacking challenge. Congratulations, you've already started. All you need to do is to continue that, and continue we will. Not only are we having a challenge, we also, in this session, taking on the learnings and the challenges of the other sessions. I'll give you an example. In this particular problem set, if you remember the ethnography portion of Aaron, of yesterday's speaker, for those who were here, he talked about going out there and listening to the deep stories of the other person. He said that your perspective is not the only one in this global standard. What you just did was this. Put this in here. Great. Don't touch the orange. What you just did was this. You tried to find out what's the motivation of the other person. You're sitting in the seat of the other person. We say, try to walk on the shoes of the other person, except when it's high heels. So over here, you try to find out why the person wants the orange, as you rightly pointed out. It's so simple, yet so many people just don't do it. We don't ask, why is it that you want the orange? Or, take it to a high level, you want the orange. Do you want the orange now? Today? This week? Are you going to put the orange in the freezer and use it only next week? Oh, then next week, there's another cargo of oranges that will come. Would it be okay if you wait? So, hence, thinking differently in that sense, and to have that sheet of paper that just prompts us in that problem sphere, landscape, gets us to this situation. Good. What we just looked at is the first P. P for problem. Now we'll move on to the next one. P for people. And we ask ourselves for this. Does it make a difference if there's a lady negotiating with a gentleman? I don't know yet. I'm not basing myself on any stereotype. I'm simply asking you that question. Does it make a difference? Would Wenchuan, right? Wei Ching negotiate for the orange differently if he was talking to Ran Ying, who was, let's say, 20 years older? When you ask these questions about the people, we've left the problem. Now we are at the people section. So if you look at it from that perspective, you wouldn't believe how many options open up. Where is the creativity here? The creativity here is for you to think of, and listen to this closely, what am I going to say? How? In order to achieve my interest. If we look at the other party, sometimes, and this is a general trend, I will not give you any theory, there are many theories out there. Sometimes it makes sense if we talk about the nutritional aspect of the orange to the other party. This is where we throw in the facts. Impossible. 2 minutes? We have more than that. So these are the facts. Sometimes we need to talk about, oh, you know, my granny used to bake a lot of orange cakes. And we talk about the people aspect, the relational aspect. That's a different angle. You are able to discover that only if you know the stories of the other person. And there are many more things to talk about in terms of the people. So I will not get into the details. On that particular problem of yours, when you're thinking about the other person, for a minute, individually, just think about how am I going to communicate specifically to that person so that the other person understands my interests. And go. Think about it. That was on the people section. Now, we'll go to the third part, which is the process. You can see they've already become friends and they're exploring different options over here. This one will be a quick one because this session is more of an introduction. For the process, look now at the difference. What if I look at the way I'm conducting the negotiation, the logistics you would see when it comes to the facilitation, etc. This is what I'm going to do. The problem is still the same. Could you please stand up? Come come and sit here. Here's a, you stay there. This is what I've just done. Some of you who know a lot about body language, it's fantastic. We know things, we just don't do it. I've taken him away from facing. I've already placed him close, usually to the 90 degrees. I've taken out the knife. I've put in a peeler. What does a peeler do? A peeler peels. If I have a peeler and a fruit, we start thinking, I'm going to peel what? The skin. If I'm going to peel the skin, I'm not cutting the orange. I'm peeling the orange. What is the output of peeling an orange? Skin and the meat, the orange. We already start thinking differently. In this process, we will not have time to go into giving you 1 minute to think about it. You can continue that later on. You would notice in the process part asking questions. How am I practicing what I have? This is what we distribute to our clients as well. Being with them, asking a lot of questions. In this, I've compiled over 400 questions. So when you look at asking questions, you need to know what questions to ask whom and when. For this, we need to be very good at asking questions. So when you're looking at the process, the methodology, you would need to know how to arrange the setting. Some of the other ways of being creative is to simply, could you come over? Both of you? If you think you are stuck, you just go for a walk. You would notice that a lot of diplomats around the world, when they go to negotiations in different places, the last time I saw the picture of the president of China with the president of the US walking down. So they have huge fields. So you'll go for a walk simply because you're now side by side and you're looking at the problem. Just that. And these are very simple steps you can take today, tomorrow, for personal negotiations. And then say, hey, why don't we go for a walk? Don't go for tea or lunch. Let's go for a walk. Motion will help in thinking differently. Good? You can stay here. And the final part in the page is this. And this is for those who want to bring this to a higher level. This is on page 2. This is the design that I came up with. This is one of the research results, is your party A and the other is party B. One of the things that we don't look at often is to think is those people who are supposed to be at the table who are not there. For example, a wife is talking to a husband and they're planning on moving. Where are the kids? And then you start thinking about what are the values of the kids of 2020? Very digital. Internet is like water for them. So you start thinking like this. When you open up these possibilities, you would see you will start becoming very, very creative. So what I've done today is to give you an overview. When you have a negotiation and you want to be creative, you would look at the problem. Then you'd ask what the problem is, who are the people I'm negotiating with, and how is the process. With this, and the life hack is in your hand, that would be up to you now to see how creative you can be. Ladies and gentlemen, in life as in business, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate for. Happy negotiation. Thank you.